just wanted to thank you all for joining us for our Business Success Seminar, the Coronavirus Business Bootcamp, presented by Dr. David Bradham, Success Academy. And we'll let Dr. Bradham tell you a little bit more about what the Success, that's a hard word to say today, the Success Academy is all about. But this is just a little bit of information for you to help regain some footing during or after the coronavirus, and how to come back into the business world actively and strong. And what we'll do is, I apologize for the bell. We seem to be having some issue with our doorbell. We'll get that figured out. I'll let everybody introduce themselves maybe at the end, and we can talk if there's any specific questions or if there's anything that you, additional information that you might want, and we can follow up at the end. But without keeping everybody any further, I want to go ahead and turn it over to David Bradham, Dr. David Bradham, and let him go ahead and get us started out.
Hello, Heather. Thank you for putting this on. This is a very exciting time for me because I really have been able to help a lot of people who are struggling in their business some. And what this is about, we are doing this boot camp over, I believe it is, I guess, 4 sessions. We've got 2 this month, and we've got 2 next month. And so we're going to try to go over a lot of things that will really help people that are in their own business. And this really is for people that are either starting a new business, or for people who are maybe in a business already and would like to grow their business. Perhaps they're stagnant with what they're doing. And so that's what this is about, a lot of good hands-on stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about me right now, because you didn't get into this to talk about me or find out anything about me. So we're going to go through this pretty quick. But I do think it probably helps to have a little bit of a reference on who you're talking about. My name is David Bradham, and I have a chiropractic practice. I've been in practice for about 23 years now. I absolutely love what I do. And, you know, we do a good job in this office. We've helped a lot of people. But the one thing about my profession, this is a whole nother class altogether that has nothing to do with this. But, you know, we don't see but about probably 10% of the population. So what that means is, you know, we've had to learn to scratch and work really hard. We have a great message, and we have a lot to offer the community, obviously, but, you know, we have to work hard to get that message out. So what that means is that from the very beginning, I've really had to work on marketing and work on how to do things the right way. So a lot of what I've learned has been through trial and error, what works, what doesn't work, and that type of thing. So what that has led to over the years is people that have asked me, you know, well, how do you do this? And how do you do that? And, you know, and so I've been helping people for many, many years that are struggling in business. And now I'm also doing this as a business coach and marketing strategist for people who I'm able to look over their information and see what's working, what's not working, why it's not working, how we can improve it. So that's a little bit more about me. I'm not going to talk about the awards. Nobody cares about that, other than to say that, you know, we have figured out a recipe that works. And I think that's important. I am an author, 45-minute business breakthroughs, and I'd be happy to get a copy to anybody who would like one. It's a good, easy, quick read, but a lot of information in there about what works. And essentially, this book is about how to put money in your pocket through finding untapped potential in the business that you're in. And that's important, because if you're not careful in the marketing world, you can really spend tons of money that maybe you don't have and get absolutely nothing in place to that. Contributing editor, Six-Figure Coach Magazine. That's a group of coaches that we sort of all have the same purpose, and that is to help small business owners. As I mentioned, people that are either starting a new business or have a business that seems to be kind of struggling, or they're frustrated about a certain part of their business. One of the things I do is a 24-point success module where I break down everybody's business that typically fall through these different points and figure out where you're locked at and how we can get through it. And that's been very successful in my business. These other things that I've got down here are just to say, and the only reason I put, city council, coach, and father is to say that, the way that my business is run, both businesses that I have, is I've allowed plenty of time for things that are important to me, and that is my community. I've lived here my whole life. My roots run deep. And as a father, I've been involved in my family life. So some of the things that I'll be teaching today are not things that are geared towards you having to work 80 hours a week. To the contrary, I've been able to accomplish this working, 3.5, 4 days a week. Now, I work hard when I'm there, don't get me wrong, but my point is life is more than work. And I can teach you all kinds of principles that are going to help you expand your business. But if you're never home, then you have to ask yourself the question, is it really worth it? So that's the reason I throw those particular slides in there. So what's today's game plan? What do we hope to get out of today's session? I want to provide you with some actionable strategies that you can use starting today that's going to triple your leads. That means, what can you do to get more people that are at least interested in what you do? Double your conversions. That simply means how can you make those leads and turn those into something that's going to be valuable? And then grow your revenue and profits exponentially. So the first thing I want you to do, and hopefully you've got a pen and pad of paper there, something to write on. I want you to rate your current situation. Where are your struggles at right now? What are your frustrations? What are your struggles? Where do you think you are? Are you listening to this because you're frustrated about certain aspects of your business, or just kind of interested in what you're doing? And, what is your purpose for being here, I guess you would say. And as we go through this presentation, I want you to be charting this down and writing, how is this relevant to your business? Maybe some of the things, depending on what you're in, maybe some of these things have no relevance to your business. Maybe they have a lot of relevance. Most things in small business, 90% of things in small business, some of these principles that we teach are really relative to pretty much any business that you're in. And then what is your level of proficiency? So if we start talking a minute, for instance, about how to create a advertisement that works, which you'll see in a minute, we'll show you tons of examples. What is your level of proficiency in this now? Are you very, very good at it already? And this is just icing on the cake, or maybe do you struggle? One of the big things I hear from people all the time is, hey, I advertise and I get nothing from it. You hear that a lot about newspaper advertising. Man, I put all this money into newspaper advertising, and yet I have nothing to show for it at the end of the day. And what you're going to find out in just a few minutes is it's not necessarily the medium that you advertise through. It's more about what you say. And then after that, you want to write down some action steps, okay, based on what we've heard today in this presentation. What are some action steps that I can take immediately? And if you're paying attention, you should have your paper full of ideas that you can use. What you will have to do is you will have to make that relevant to your situation. So if I'm talking about a chiropractor or talking about a daycare center or something like that, how can I translate that into realty or whatever business I happen to be in? So keep that in mind as we go through today. We're going to develop a roadmap that you can use this week to start improving your sales and marketing results. So let's dive in. So in 60 seconds, I want you to be able to, and do this to yourself, what is your name? What do you do? What's working best in your business? And what's your biggest challenge? Now, one of the biggest things I see, and if you've studied marketing at all, you probably have heard, no doubt, about an elevator pitch. And that is how you explain to somebody what it is you do. Let me give you an example in my field. So if you were to come up to me at a party or come up to me at the ballpark or whatever and say, what do you do? Most people who are in chiropractic healthcare would say, I'm a chiropractor. Or you might say I'm a realtor, or I'm an optometrist, or I'm a whatever, body shop owner. But when you do that, you're not really telling them what you do. You're telling them who you are. And that's not very interesting to people. If you're a small business owner, you should automatically know, and you should automatically be able to spit out exactly what you do in such a way that explains that, so that people will ask the follow-up question. And let me give you an example of that. So what do you do, David Bradham? And my answer to that question is, I get sick people well naturally. I get sick people well naturally. Now, most people, if they hear that response, they're going to have a follow-up question, which is going to be, well, how do you do that? And that is exactly what you want to be presenting as a small business owner. You want to get follow-up questions. So to say to someone, I'm a realtor, or I'm a chiropractor, or whatever, really is boring and it doesn't do much to help. The next time that you are at a function, whether it be a civic meeting or whatever, you need to develop that elevator pitch. It needs to be short and very succinct, but it needs to be to the point. It needs to be powerful. So when I come up to someone and I say, I get sick people well without drugs, or sick people well naturally, that takes me less than 10 seconds to spit out, but it will guarantee a follow-up question, because they're going to want to know, well, how do you do that? I mean, what kind of doctor are you? And so you need to develop that. And if anybody has questions about that, we can talk about that at the end. I'll certainly be happy to call you. We can talk about it privately, but you need to be able to develop that and get very good at it so it does not sound rehearsed or sing-songy or anything like that. So what's working best in your business? What are your strengths right now? You know that. And then, what is your biggest challenge? Is it marketing correctly, which is what we're going to accomplish today? Is it knowing how to downsell one of your potential clients or customers? I mean, what are your challenges? You need to know that as well. So 80-20 rule, excuse me, 20% of what you do every day is generating 80% of your total annual revenue. That is a fact. And you're only doing a few things daily that make most of the money in your business. So these are the 5 areas that are going to make up that 20%. More leads, that means how do we get more people to at least be interested in what we have to sell or offer? More conversions, how do we get more of those people to want to buy from us? More transactions, how can they buy more often? So therefore, if I'm a realtor and I sell a house to someone, how can I get that person to want to buy from me more often? Maybe not for me, but maybe for their grandparents or for their child or whoever. That's more transactions. Higher prices. You want to make sure that you're commanding the income that you need to command in your small business. We'll talk about that a little later. And more profits. That means what can we do from a cost analysis to make sure we're not wasting money? Today we're going to talk about the first 2, leads and conversions. The other 3 we're going to hit on some of the subsequent sessions that we have. Dive into that a little bit. So what you need to understand is that small incremental changes are able to produce big results. This is what we call a profit growth calculator. And this is something that we look at with businesses to see what their base is and how that base can be grown by making some small adjustments. So in other words, you have a baseline for your leads, a baseline for your conversions, transactions, higher prices, and your profits. So if we take a baseline of 1,000, and let's say the conversion rate is 25%, that would give us a 250 sales rate. A baseline for transactions is 10. Our price is $100 per transaction, and that would give us a revenue of $250,000. So our base here is 25%, and that would give us a gross profit of $62,000. Now, let's take this with a 10% increase in leads. 10% increase in leads gets that to 1,100. That goes to 27.5%, which gives us 303 as a sales area. Transactions, we just raise that 10% to 11 transactions. That price goes to $110, and that raises the revenue to 366. We've gone from 250 to 366. That's a 27.5%, 10% increase to 27.5, and that gets the gross profits to $100,000. And you can see that if you go to 50%, what it does, I think you get the idea here, folks. And the idea is that if we can make a small increase, and I have to tell you, 10% is really kind of pathetic. That's, you should be able to do that with minimal effort. I like to play in more of the 50% ballpark, and you can see where you're going here from a base of 62,000 to 474,000 just by changing a few things in the way that you go through these areas of your business. It's called a profit growth calculator. And that's a 760% increase that is possible. So my point here is to show you how you can transform your business by just changing a few different things. So I want to go through some breakthrough strategies that are being used by the world's top business coaches and things that I use with my clients right now. I had two clients I worked with this morning. One is a naturopathic doctor, the other is a chiropractor. This has also been used for plumbers, electricians, realtors, etc. And they all use sort of the same policy. So let's go through this. Let's talk about more leads. And let's talk about how you can generate all the leads your business can handle, literally to the point where you'll have to shut it down because your phone's going to quit, will not stop ringing. So let's talk about that right now. So fundamentals of marketing. You need to have something good to say, and it needs to be a market dominating position. That means what can you say that's going to be different from your competitors? So for instance, and you'll see this in just a second, but if you're a daycare provider, and you say something to the effect of, we offer a safe environment for our kids. Well, one of the things you can always do to check yourself to see whether or not what you have to say is truly special is, if you can say, well, I would hope so, then it's not special. So when I say as a daycare provider, we offer a safe environment for our kids, that's not special because that's a baseline of what you expect anyway. There's nothing special about that. And we can say, I should hope so. So you need to develop a market dominating position. And we can talk about that later if you'd like, how we can do that for your business, but you need to have one. What separates you from the pack? If you're a realtor and you've got 50 other realtors that you're dealing with, what can you say that's different? Perhaps it might be that, we guarantee to sell your house in this many months, or there's some kind of discount, or whatever it might be. There's all kinds of things you can do, but you got to have something good to say. You have to say it well, and you do that with compelling marketing. You have to say it often. You have to repeat it. We'll get more into that in just a minute. So here's the key to successful marketing. You have to be able to enter the conversation that's taking place in the head of your prospects. If I own a daycare center, what would the prospects, the mothers and fathers of these young kids, be thinking as they're trying to find a place for their child to go to daycare? Or if I'm a realtor and I'm trying to, I'm trying to get to sell a house or whatever, what would be going through the mind of the prospects that I'm trying to reach? Okay, or another way to look at it is you have to be able to address the one question on their mind at just the right time. So the conversation that's taking place in every prospect's mind revolves around 2 points. There's a problem they have and they don't want. So again, let's stick with our example of the realtor. They have a house they're trying to sell and they want to get rid of it. That's the problem, all right? And number two, there's a result they want, but they don't have. And they've tried to use a realtor and the realtor is not getting anywhere with them. They're not selling the house. They don't feel like they're working hard enough. And the result they want is to get that house sold. So you got to remember those 2 points. And so that leads us to what's called the conversion equation. And that means every piece of advertising that you put out there, whether it's Facebook, whether it's newspaper, whether it's online, whatever it might be, you have to follow this equation. This is very important. You might want to make a note of this, and that is interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. So the interrupt is your headline. What did they see when they first look at your ad that's going to grab their attention? You'll see several examples in just a second. The engage is your subheadline. That means what type of, what is the answer to the question you just proposed? For instance, the interrupt might be, are you losing sleep because of your back, because of back pain? That's the interrupt. The engage is what the solution to that problem might be, whether it be, we have successfully treated this condition for over 2 decades. Educate, that's where you provide information, either verbally or in writing, that presents evidence to your prospects that you're going to produce what you say you are. Most people, unfortunately, in advertising go straight to the educate and they skip the other 2. The problem is this. As you know, people have the attention span of a 5-year-old, most people today. And so if you don't interrupt and engage, you'll never get to the educate. You'll never get there. And then you must have an offer, and it has to be so compelling and irresistible that prospects cannot turn that down. So the formula for generating these leads is market, message, and media. So everything that you do in your marketing piece, you need to think about who is your market, what's your message, and what kind of media are you going to use. So for instance, if I'm selling the latest snazzy video game from Xbox 3 or something like that, would my market be senior citizens that are over age 70 years old? Probably not, right? Not a great market, statistically speaking. What's the message? How am I going to get that message out to them? And what's the media? One of the things I see a lot, and I mentioned this earlier, and that is a lot of people want to blame the media. They want to say, when I say media, I mean how you get your message out. They'll say things like, you know, I'm doing advertising in the newspaper, but it's not working. Well, it could be, and it probably is, not the newspaper. It's probably the message that you're getting out, and that's very important. So let me give you some case studies from some of the clients that I have worked with and we worked with over the years. And this is one from a cosmetic surgeon specializing in mommy makeovers. That means people who perhaps are in their 30s, 40s, they're not as, they've gained some weight, they don't have the body they would like to have or that they certainly had in their 20s. And essentially these are, you know, basically plastic surgeons. So this particular plastic surgeon was running some ads. They were getting 35 leads a month running Facebook pay-per-click, about $6,000 a month. That's a lot of money for a lot of businesses. And this was his ad: nurture the body that will provoke true envy. Now we'll come back to this in just a minute, but I want you to think about that for a minute in terms of the market message and media, and think about if you're a young lady who your goal is to try to have the body that you have when you're in your 20s and now you're in your 30s and 40s, and you see this ad. We'll come back to that in just a minute. So although we're saying enter the conversation that's taking place in the head of your prospect. So let's apply what we just talked about: market, message, and media. And this is very important, guys. You may not be a plastic surgeon, but if you're a realtor or you own a body shop or you own a donut shop or whatever, I want you to think about this information that I'm applying right now and apply it to your business. So let's talk about this. What's our market? So the market probably is going to be women aged 30 to 45 with 2 or more kids. What is the message? You want the body that you had before you had kids. That's the message you're trying to get out. And what's the media? That just simply means how we're going to try to get the message out. Facebook, pay-per-click, direct mail, radio, TV. You can put anything you want to there. So the result generated 300 to 500 leads per month and over 1,000% lead increase by keeping in mind how we can make this ad better, which we'll get to in just a second. So now we just talked about here, you know, the lead increase being over 1,000%. So 50% increase in these areas really is child's play. And very often we can do much better than that. Let's talk about a chiropractor for just a second. So this chiropractor specializes in a fibromyalgia diagnosis, which essentially means pain all over the body. Had 3 leads a month running newspaper flyers, spending over $2,000 in this. So this is the ad that this chiropractor, once we were able to configure the ad to be successful, this is the ad that he ran. And let's remember that IEEO we talked about earlier, and the first I was for interrupt. So if you look at the headline, when I walked through the door, I didn't care if I lived or died. Now, if you're someone that's in pain, and again, fibromyalgia means you've got pain all over, will that interrupt you and get your attention? And the answer is absolutely it will, all right? The next thing we talked about, the E, engage. Okay, so now you've got my attention. So engage me a little bit. And that's what the paragraph up in here is about. And then all this other stuff down here is our educate. Because once you've got me interrupted and engaged, at this point you're able to educate me and I'm listening. But if you do not interrupt or engage me, I will not listen to you. I'll just keep flipping around. And then at the very bottom right, there's some type of offering there as well. All right, so again, let's go through this for the chiropractor. The market, 18 to 85 years old, it's a pretty wide market, massive pain throughout the body. The message is that if you're misdiagnosed, you're suffering needlessly. Now, a lot of people that have this diagnosis run from doctor to doctor and they're not really diagnosed correctly. So you think about someone who's in this category, a woman who's 18 to 35, massive pain throughout the body, and all of a sudden they see this ad that says, attention, fibromyalgia sufferers, free report. So you got my attention on this. The media is cable TV, Facebook, pay-per-click, direct mail, radio. So the result of this ad generated 137 leads in 4 days. 4,500% lead increase. That's a lot, folks. That is a lot. All right, let's go to another one. Let's take a look at this. This is a daycare owner. Again, take this and try to correlate this to the business you're in. So this is a daycare owner, and it says, the ad says, back to school, now enrolling infants, toddlers, preschoolers, after-school programs. And you look at all that, and again, let's use our criteria that we set, and that is, can you look at this and say, I should hope so? All right? So let's just go through this. Now enrolling infants, toddlers, preschool, after-school programs. Okay, I would hope you would. Curriculum for all ages, I would hope so. Great location, I would hope so. Free, nutritious food provided. Would anybody say unhealthy, bad food provided? Probably not. So none of this stuff really does a lot to, really compel anybody to want to use this business. They mail this out to every home within a 5-mile radius. Little to no results with this. Complete failure. No cause. So let's go do it again. What's the market? Parents that want their kids educated. The message, we guarantee your child will be reading at first grade level prior to entering kindergarten. Every parent wants their child to be well prepared for school. They all do, right? So this is a message that will definitely resonate, and every parent wants their child to get ahead. And the media, networking, targeted direct mail, radio, TV, a lot of ways that we can do that. Again, the media part of this is not nearly as important as the market and the message. So let's take that poor ad that we saw before and let's change that to one that actually works. So look at this. This is a pretty cool one. Is your daycare's idea of good educational curriculum watching Barney on TV? So when I read that, if I'm someone in the market for trying to start a daycare or increase my daycare business, that will, or if I'm someone that's looking at this, that's looking to put their child in daycare, that's going to get my attention. I'm going to stop, and that will interrupt my pattern of thought. And then the engage part is, how would you like your child to be reading at first grade level before starting kindergarten? Okay, I'm with you so far. I would definitely like my child to be able to do that. And then all this down here, as we mentioned, is the educate. That's where you sort of tell me how you're going to do it. And then at the very bottom down here, you can see that this is the a free report that you give people. And so you're off to the races. And these are some of the benefits on the right of the 48 daycare centers. Only one was specifically designed and equipped to the unique needs of an accelerated children, 22 station Dell computer lab. So this is a great ad. What was the result of this? It generated 58 leads in the first week, and they had to stop running the ad. So yes, they had to stop running the ad. This is an ad that we created. So, you can go back and take a look at that, and you can see in your particular business, if you create an ad like that, that is what will happen. So let's go through. So the secret to generating more leads, remember, is market, message, and media. So I want you to think about this now, as I mentioned when we first started, and I want you to rate your proficiency in this area. And you have to have a little bit of self-analysis here and really rate your ability to execute this successfully in your own business. So let's jump to conversions. So now that we know how that we can get more leads, let's talk about how we can convert more of those leads to paying customers or clients. So let's talk about that now. Let's talk about downselling, and that's offering a prospect an alternative at a lower price when they decline your original offer. So let me give you an example of how one of the firms that we work with right now, they're gun makers. And this particular company had very nice guns, but the problem was these guns, they averaged between $800 and $1,000. And that's a lot of money for the average person to pay for a handgun. So what they began doing was offering a quality product at a much cheaper price. And the way they were able to do that was they did not put as much of the hand sculpting and as much of the finish on these guns as some of the other models that they used. The gun itself was just as high quality as the one that was expensive, with just out all the fluff. And so they were able to offer their clients a product that was more affordable. that they could use to protect their family for target shooting, whatever they want to use it for. That's called downselling. So you're offering an alternative at a lower price. And I hope that in your business, you have ideas or things that you can think about. If not, we can certainly help you with that, that you can offer and still offer that person a quality product. And understand this, that just because this particular client is not buying what you have to sell right now does not mean they won't do that in the future. This means they're not doing it now. So, once you downsell and once you're able to establish a relationship with this particular customer or client, then down the road it becomes more easier. How about a drip campaign? So on average, less than 1% of prospects are now buyers. That means 99% are not ready to purchase that day. However, many of these folks are going to buy something from you in the future if you will nurture them by staying in touch on an ongoing basis. This is called a drip campaign. Let me give you an example of this. Again, make this applicable to your business, but this is someone that we work with that, that builds and sells various types of sunroom type things. So let's say that you're scrolling along, and let's say that you and your spouse have some interest in building a sunroom. Not really serious about it right now, but it's on your radar screen. So, you look at it and you make the inquiry to a company that does it, and you end up talking to a salesman there, and you tell the salesman, it looks like it would be great, you just don't really want it right now. So what the average business person does is they leave it right there, which is the absolute worst mistake that you could possibly make. Because what you want to do is realize you're practically begging this customer, they're begging you for information about their product. They're just not ready to buy it yet. So what needs to happen in your business is you need to create what I call stories. That means you need to create stories about your product. If you're a realtor, you need to create stories about why this is good, why that is good, why you should do this now, why you should wait on this. You want to focus on features, not so much about yourself. People don't really care about you. They care about what you can do for them. So these are features. And this is an example from this particular company that did sunrooms. So this is one piece that you would send out. The next piece you would send out, 7 benefits of owning a sunroom. This is pretty cool because if I'm someone that's in the market for a sunroom, this is something nice to look at. These are all the different benefits. You could give 2 benefits a week, 2 benefits a day, however you want to do it. And so, at the very end, we're a little more aggressive with this. We're offering some type of coupon if you want to for this. The point is you're really trying to make sure that you don't lose these people just because they're not prepared to buy something right now. So remember, so the secret to converting more leads is you have to offer a compelling offer. So let's give you an example of this. And again, compare this to your business. What is your offer? Here's a gentleman that was doing some advertising. He's a money market type guy, financial planner. So when you look at this ad, this is a really bad way to run an ad. It says, get your free consultation. Virtually everybody offers that today, and that's kind of meaningless. It's got his phone number down at the bottom left, fax number, again, nothing meaningful there. And remember, people buy stuff from people that they know and appreciate. If I don't know who Gary is, what would make me want to be inclined to call him? Probably not a whole lot. At the bottom right, you see down there, it's got, ask a question, send it in. None of this stuff really appeals to the average buyer. This only might appeal to someone who has an impulse buy. So let's say that for some odd reason, you just had to have the services of a money market guy right now. Perhaps this might work, but for the other 99%, it's not. Here's another bad ad. This is from a chiropractic and acupuncture clinic. It's got the name of the clinic up there. It's got the phone numbers. But again, nothing in here whatsoever to drive me to take action. So that leads me to the point that I made earlier, and that is you have to know what the buyer's journey is. So, only about 1% of the population are right now buyers. Good examples of that, and depending on what business you're in, some are more inclined to do it than others. If you're a Domino's Pizza, yeah, impulse buy, I'm hungry, let's get a pizza. That might work, okay? Or if you're a McDonald's and I just have a passion for a Big Mac right now or something like that, that might work. But for most people, that's not how business works. People are going to go through this buyer's journey. And on the left side, it says future buyers, benefits of ownership, why should I buy? Soon to be buyers, what are the objections? Why shouldn't I buy? Yeah, this realtor looks like he's pretty good. Nah, I'm not so sure about this guy. So this is kind of the back and forth motion that you affect. And again, only about 1% are ready to do something right now. So what you have to do as a business owner is you have to educate people and make sure that when they wrestle back and forth between why I should buy and why I shouldn't buy, in the end, they decide to buy from you. And that leads to information. And that goes back to the examples I gave you earlier about downselling and about drip campaigns and making sure you don't give up on the client just because they're not ready to buy from you right now. So let's give some more examples. And again, I'll continue to say this, make this applicable to your business. Another cosmetic surgeon. So if I just happen to be someone who by chance had made my mind up that I was going to have some type of plastic surgery, it's possible that maybe I might call this particular person, I might call that number there and I might want to, to get some kind of free service. But that's not how most people do business when it comes to wanting to get plastic surgery. You want to find out who it is, how good they are, how long they've been there. So for instance, this ad is pretty much worthless unless you happen to be in the 1% market, you want it right now. And there's a lot of luck and things that are involved in that we don't want to base our businesses on. Request your consultation. There's a phone number that it gives you. Not a whole lot happening here. So again, those previous ads are only appealing to the 1% of now buyers. And you've convinced yourself you need plastic surgery and you just happen to see that ad and boom, there it is. Not a real good way to go about it. So let's go back to something we talked about earlier. And let's talk about these mommy makeovers again. Plastic surgery for mothers who'd like to improve their body. So, 35 leads a month, running Facebook pay-per-clip, spending tons of money, no action. Conversion rate was 0. And folks, I'm telling you, whatever business you're in, there's nothing more humiliating than spending $3,000 or $4,000 on ads and getting nothing in return. There is a ratio, there is a way that you can look at your ad. If anybody would like some help with that, I can do that for no charge. I'll just talk to you about it one-on-one. There's a formula that we go through to see whether or not your ad is any good or not. But the conversion rate was 0. So here we go. This was that earlier ad we showed you. There's nothing in here whatsoever that's going to compel someone to in any way take action. It gives you a phone number. The ad is not appealing to this at all. Virtual consultation, everybody offers that. There's nothing different about that. So how do we change that ad? This is an excellent way to change a bad ad to a good ad. And here's what the interrupt, the I is. I want the body I had before I had kids. Yes. All right. So if I'm a mother who wants the body back I had before kids, that's going to get my attention. It absolutely will. So we're going to engage them. Time to get rid of problem areas on your hips, thighs, and tummy. Okay, so these are the solutions that I need. The bottom left just has an average looking person. It doesn't have someone that looks like they jumped out of, Sports Illustrated or whatever, just an average looking person with education. And then to the right, it has what is called a squeeze page. And a squeeze page is simply a page where they can go and get a report. We help our clients develop these squeeze pages, but on these squeeze pages, you go in and you get a free report about something that will educate them further. Now, a squeeze page looks a little bit like a web page, but there's no navigation bars. When you fill that out with your name and your email address, you'll get some type of report or recording. And people are kind of funny. They don't necessarily want a bunch of people calling them and things like that. So this is a good, safe way to be able to do that. They can get information from you without having to talk to you directly. So this is what the free report offered that we set up for this person. It was a free report that had candid answers about mommy makeover surgery. What are the risks? What are the benefits? And will it look natural? Those are all valid questions that someone that might want this service would want to know. I mean, these are valid concerns. And remember, we said, put yourself in the eyes of the consumer. So if I'm someone who might want this particular service, those are absolutely questions that I would have. And that's exactly what this report offers. So what are the results of us changing this ad for this particular person? Previous conversion rate was a very, very disappointing, humiliating 0%. Conversion rate now is 67%. Patient conversion rate was 8%. And the result is that the ad is now generating 300 to 500 prospects per month. And the 67% conversion rate is generating 268 news. And the 8% conversion rate is now generating new patients, 32 new patients, sorry, and $600,000 in monthly revenue. Now, you may be sitting there saying, okay, yeah, but this is a cosmetic surgeon. He charges big dollars. That's true, he does. But let me ask you this question. If your business went from 0 increase to $30,000 or $40,000 increase by doing these things, that's a lot of money, folks. That's a lot of gains that you can make just by changing around a few things. Think about it for a minute. You're spending the money already anyway. So if I'm spending $2,000 on newspaper advertising, I might as well get the benefit of putting the right things in those ads. And that's all we did here. We didn't really offer anything new. We did offer the squeeze page, but essentially we just changed around the stuff that we had in there. Let's go to the chiropractor, for instance. Again, the chiropractor, boring ad, phone number 1-800, schedule an appointment. If I don't know this particular chiropractor, why would I want to schedule an appointment with someone I don't know? So this is how we changed his ad. Chronic pain eliminated forever. Okay, yes, that is definitely will interrupt me if I'm in pain. Revolutionary, new scientific breakthrough, clinically proven, blah, 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 blah. All this does, it shows us an engage point, and then at the bottom, we educate. And then at the bottom right, there's a free report. Give it to me. I don't have to talk to this doctor if I don't want to. I just go get a report. I learn about what he's got to offer. And this is a report that we're offering. The secret to total and complete fibromyalgia relief. So if I've got fibromyalgia or if I've got pain, this definitely interests me. So the result, TV ad generated 137 leads in 4 days. Report converted 37 patients at $2,500, a piece. Total revenue, $92,500. So again, let's put this in your business, and by changing these things around, look at the potential here. It's actually pretty astonishing. These are all proven results. Let's go to the daycare example. Excuse me. So what a great place to start. It gives you a phone number to call. Nothing in here at all exciting. Nothing in here that would get my attention. How do we change that? Little Harbor, the only South Lake daycare specifically designed and equipped for accelerated children. You can quickly see between the previous ad and this ad the difference. Okay, this ad interrupts, it engages, it educates, and it does have an offer at the very bottom. What's the result of this? This generated 58 leads in the first week. Excuse me. 47 applied for 18 openings. How would you like to be that if you had a daycare center that you were trying to fill and you had 18 openings and 47 applied for it? Pretty significant. They had to start running the ad. We literally had to stop pulling this ad because there were so many people that were calling, they just couldn't keep up. It's a nice problem to have, isn't it? When the phone just will not quit ringing. Nice problem to have. Again, did not spend any more money whatsoever. Just changed around what we were offering and added a couple of things at the bottom. So that's the really exciting thing about this. We didn't have to spend more money. We simply rearranged what we had. So again, think about the buyer's journey. What should I buy? Why shouldn't I buy? Who should I buy from? So in other words, if you do your job in this first leg with information and following the principles that I've just given you, then the natural selection should be obvious. Not to brag, but because of the reputation we've created in our clinic for getting results with people, we do have patients that come from Raleigh, Fayetteville, all over. They drive an hour and they drive past hundreds, perhaps thousands of other doctors that they could have gone to, but they come here because they know they're going to get results and they know we're going to treat their case seriously. So when they come to us, we don't have to sell anybody. And this is the kind of business you want to create in your market. And you can do that with these adjustments. But you want to give good information. So I hope you're starting to see how this can transform your business, and how if you look at the bottom line, the gross profits of going from $62,000 and change up to $474,000 and change, how this is very easy to do, folks. I mean, if I'm getting lead increases of 1,500%, 50% is child's play. That's easy. And 10% is actually pretty deplorable. But even at 10%, look at the difference, $62,000 by being able to change these factors. So the secret to converting leads is creating a compelling offer. I want you to relate this to your business, and I want you to think about how proficient you are and how you're able to execute this successfully in your own business that you happen to be in. Now, I want to switch gears. We're getting towards the end of the hour, and I want to get this in because these are important concepts. I want to give you some boots on the ground information that you can use right now. Sales letter checklist for direct response mail. So when you start to create this ad, and as I mentioned earlier, if you're creating an ad, you'd like some help with that ad, I'll help you do that. But these are the things that you need to have in that ad for it to work. All right, so all those examples I gave you earlier, you'll need to make sure you're covering these bases. It needs to have a compelling headline. Remember, that is the interrupt. It should invoke an immediate response, action, visit, call, or purchase. You need to tell the person that you're trying to sell to what is it you want them to do. Give them instructions, make them clear. It should overcome sales objections. Make sure you put that in there. And you know what those are. It should focus on benefits, not features. How does it benefit someone else? I mean, you know, if you were Realtor of the Year for 10 years running, that's great, and maybe you should put that somewhere, but I'm not necessarily going to hire you for that reason. I'm going to hire you because of what you can do for me. You know, I will guarantee this, or I will do this, or whatever. You want to focus on the benefits. Answer all major questions they might have. We showed you that a while ago with the drip campaign and with the, the ads that we showed you how to run there. It should promise performance or results. Put your money where your mouth is. If you're going to have results for someone, put it in there. Have some kind of guarantee that you can back up. That leads to number 7, risk-free warranty or money-back guarantee. It should be keyed in such a way that you can analyze the value, profitability, and performance. This is a big one because so many people today, they put these ads out there and they don't follow, they don't track them. So they have no way of really knowing whether or not they're working on it. You got to be able to do that. And there's a formula that we use to make sure that's being accomplished. Must have your contact information. It should acknowledge the person as being valuable. Should be personally written or written as if it's directed to somebody. It does not need to look canned at all. And it should begin with the results that a person should expect. So if I'm offering to help somebody with a health problem, it should indicate what that problem is and what kind of results they should get. It needs to explain to the person why they should get those results. It should remind them, why he should choose, or at least should choose to use you or have more. It should show the person how he or she can try it without risk. And it should assure the person that if he's not comfortable taking action now, as a courtesy, you'll follow up with a telephone call. People don't like to be harassed. They don't like to be stalked. So, you need to make sure you understand that. And number 21, you should offer various letters, small mailings. You should test everything you do. You should test the things that you send out because you never know what's going to work and what doesn't work. If a mailing or something that you do is not working, it could be that you missed the I, you missed the E, you missed part of that ad. And if you change a couple of letters around, you can be a lot more successful. The only way you know that is by really testing it out. So that leads me to the end of today's presentation. Remember, there are 3 other ones that we're going to do, and we have the dates for that. One of the things that I am offering people who are on these calls is what I call 30K in 90 minutes. And it actually to say 30K in 60 minutes or 45 minutes. Doesn't take 90 minutes. And what I do for chamber customers, chamber clients is in 45 minutes or so, I will find you at least $30,000, maybe up to $100,000, depending on what business you're in, of untapped money that's in your business. This is not some kind of sales job. I will not sell you anything. That's not what this is. I'm doing this for two reasons. Number one, because I do live here. I have roots here. I want to see all businesses succeed. And the other reason is because I'm always working on chapters of a book that I'm writing and revising, almost like the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, where I might have a chapter for the realtor's soul, or a chapter for the donut shop owner's soul, whatever it might be. And the only thing that I ask in return is that once you do these programs, when you end up increasing the money in your business, and you will, that you would consider allowing me to use that as a case study for my book. So if you're a realtor and by doing this, you're able to increase profits $75,000, I may want to include that in that book. If you want to be anonymous, that's fine. I don't have to include your name. But if you want to, that's fine too. And that's the only thing that I ask in return, is that we sort of follow you as you increase your results. But otherwise, this is a great opportunity for you to see what kind of untapped potential you have in your business. I will say the only thing about this is that I still practice full time. And so I don't have but a few slots available per week. I'm going to leave this up here. What I would recommend would be that you take a picture of this. It's got the URL at the bottom. That is called my time trade. I've got a few of the slots. You can go to that, and that'll have my calendar and the times that I have available. If you have a block of about 45 minutes that you'd like to do that, then we can certainly pencil you in. Again, I will not try to sell anything to you. This is simply for your benefit. I will not only show you how to find that money, but I'll also show you a plan to do it, and then let you have at it. I would recommend, it's got my email address above it. If you would do me a favor when you sign up for this, if you would email me and say, my name is John Smith. I've just signed up for your time trade. This is my number and this is my email address, because what I need to do is I need to send you a few questions that are pertinent to your business. I can always show you a generic one, but it really makes a lot more sense if this is done based on your numbers and your figures, because you may not have the same as the cosmetic surgeon or the donut shop owner, whatever it might be. And I'll send you a couple of questions, nothing hard, just a couple of questions that'll help considerably, and you'll get more out of the presentation if we do that. So go ahead and make the email, put your name, email address, what business you're in would be helpful as well. That would be helpful. And then go ahead and you can sign up on the time trade for a slot. So I'll stop now and open it up. We've got a few minutes left. If we have any questions, we can do that now. And I look forward. I hope you guys will come back. We went through 2 out of the 5. We'll go back to the other ones in our subsequent sessions, and we'll offer some personal insight on some things you can do in those areas as well. So Heather, with that, the time is yours.
Great. Well, thank you, David. That was a lot of great information. I made many, many notes. So I hope everybody else got a little bit of information out of this as well that you can bring back to your business and help increase your leads, and just maybe bounce back a little bit from some of these down times that we've been experiencing due to Corona, and just maybe a refresh for your business. It's never too late, or there's never enough information out there. I'm a firm believer in that you have to keep growing and changing and looking at things differently as the world changes. But I wanted to open it up to our 2 callers, or if they're interested, introduce themselves, ask any questions, tell us maybe a little bit about the business that they're in, or if there's anything that they'd like to add to that. And then if you would like to participate in part 2, go ahead and let us know, and we can get you registered so that we make sure that everyone receives the Zoom link, because it will be different from today's meeting. Edith or Tony, did either one of you want to say anything?
Well, I see his mouth moving. I don't see anything coming out. Right?
Yeah, Tony, I don't know, is your speaker working now?
I'm not reading lips too well these days. So I can't make out what he's saying.
I
Very
think
faintly.
we have a microphone issue, I think. Poor Tony.
Tony, what I was suggesting, Tony, if he doesn't get that fixed, you can email me the questions, Tony. We can talk about them on email. Are you able to hear me? Can you talk now, Tony? No. Okay. You just email the questions, Tony, that you got, and we can discuss them via email, or you can call me. You know how to get up with me. You can call me as well. That'll be fine too.
Hey, David.
Yes.
Hey, William and Edie Elmore here.
Well, hey, buddy.
Hey, I enjoyed your seminar. It's very good.
Good.
And I appreciate the chamber allowing you to put that on to help the local business. And certainly we'll send you some information. We'd certainly like to sit down and talk to you and get a little more information.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Just send that to me. And like I say, what I would highly recommend is that we schedule a time for the profit acceleration business assessment. And we can go through that and figure out a way to, because everybody's business can be increased or improved somehow. And I think we probably can help you do that.
Okay.
All right, well, wonderful. Thanks, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Bradham, for being available to do this with us. And again, the next session will be on, and I apologize, I drew a blank, October 28th. So it'll be the same format. If you go ahead and RSVP, we'll send you out the Zoom link the day before, and then we'll open the call up a few minutes before 12 o'clock to get started. And then the following sessions will be on November the 11th. Is that right? November the 11th? I apologize. November the 11th and November 25th. And then, of course, anytime you want to contact Dr. Bradham directly, he'd be happy to speak with you and give you the business assessment, work with you through the business assessment and help you through that. But with that, unless anyone has any other additional comments or questions, we'll end today's session and look forward to seeing everybody back here in 2 weeks. And we'll send out some information about this in between, so you don't have to just remember in 2 weeks to try to come back and join us again. So,
Guys, thank y'all for joining.
Thank you all.
Have a great day.
Afternoon.
Thanks a lot.